my diagnosis. The doctors didn't know if I was going to be able to walk or talk, and I just fell in love with soccer, and it helped me grow not only physically, having CP and affecting the muscles on my left side, but then taught me tons of life lessons, as I'm sure everybody that has had a longer career can relate to.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast is presented by Henkel. From pre-game rituals to everyday routines, Henkel helps families prepare for the moments that matter. Because winning starts at home. With Henkel's family of brands, including Persil, laundry detergent, Got2b hairstyling products, Dial soap, and Loctite adhesives. Hello and welcome to the U.S. Soccer Podcast presented by Henkel. My name is David Goss. I am here with the one and only, the legend, Meghan Klingenberg. Kling, are you excited to be with me?
Oh, gosh, I'm speechless. I'm so
You
excited.
got caught off guard by that one. I do know that you are excited about our guest on this episode. We are talking to Adam Ballou. So tell us a little bit about him before we get into it.
Yeah, David, let me start by just saying this. Adam is one of my favorite guests that I've ever gotten to talk to. I loved talking with him. He's so thoughtful. He's really deep and he thinks about soccer in a super nuanced way, which I also think that I like to think about soccer in that way too. Adam, he plays for the Cerebral Palsy national team, the CP national team for short. And Adam developed cerebral palsy as a result of a pediatric stroke when he was just 6 months old. In the interview, you're going to hear him explain how soccer has always been a fundamental part of his life. He started playing when he was 3 years old. And get this, he was first called into the CP national team when he was only 14, which in my book essentially makes him the Mia Hamm of the CP national team. From there, he went on to represent U.S. in 2 Paralympic Games, and he recently was part of the CP men's team that won the Copa America for the very first time.
Sounds like a legend. 2 in one place. I'm excited to hear it. So let's jump in.
Adam, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to start here. How did you fall in love with this game?
Thanks for having me, Megan, and everyone. I was fortunate. My parents were athletic. They were athletes. They are athletes, and so when I was younger, they put my 3 sisters and I into sports, and so we basically tried everything. So from the age of 3, I was put onto my older sister's little youth soccer team, and it was a way, being born with cerebral palsy, that kind of minimized the feeling I had of the impact of my disability. So I had played basketball, soccer, football, baseball, and soccer stuck. Like as soon as I ran out into the field, game over. It's been 30 years since then.
Now, we just talked to Ali Sentinor, and you said you've watched a few of the episodes, and if you remember, we talked about the youngest siblings or the younger siblings typically being the ones that become professional athletes, the ones that play on the U.S. national teams. And it's because the theory that they're playing up, they're playing with kids that are older than them, they're striving even harder than they actually have to. So I think in some ways you were doing this twofold. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. Younger sisters. So I have 1 older sister and 2 younger sisters, and I am not the best soccer player comparatively in my family. My sisters were incredible, and so that competitiveness and that drive was something that we battled in the backyard. We had 2 rules set up. We didn't let my parents put a pool in the backyard because we wanted to keep our soccer field, and but
that's amazing.
But as far as it's overcoming both. Life. We'll dive into what qualifies me for the Paralympic team or the CP team, and but it was easy when you talk about it in terms of doing something you love, and you can relate. All the work, all the travel, all of everything. What a way to express myself. And football actually helped me, soccer uh, grow physically as well. So my diagnosis, I'm sure we can get into maybe, but the doctors didn't know if I was going to be able to walk or talk, and I just fell in love with soccer, and it helped me grow not only physically, having CP and affecting the muscles on my left
Hmm.
side, but then taught me tons of life lessons, as I'm sure everybody that has had a longer career can relate to.
So now, though, you live in Spain and you play soccer there. One thing I'm always kind of curious about is the subtle, or actually not so subtle, ways that the game and the culture around the game change in different areas across the world. I've played in Sweden professionally, I've played in Canada in a World Cup, I've played in the United States for a long time, and everywhere you go, uh, the game has little differences and the culture can be like totally shocking. What's different about playing soccer in Spain?
Oof, that there is what we would call indoor courts. Yeah, it's true. Like, no matter where you go, and the beautiful thing is we've had the opportunities to see the world through sport. Sometimes we only see the hotel rooms and the fields, but we do get to see a lot of different cultures, or at least visit places. Um, and in Spain, it's really cool that, as we have in America, basketball courts that are in every neighborhood that are public. In Spain, they've got the dual basketball hoop and then the goal below it, and that's where the kids hang out. Like, that is their shopping mall of today. Or I guess I'm dating myself. I don't know if people go to malls still, but um, yeah,
I love that. I was at the malls too.
yeah. And specifically in the south of Spain, where I spent almost the last year, because it's in a small medieval city, there wasn't much room to put either grass or turf fields inside the city limits, and so they play a lot of futsal. They play a lot of futsal, but it's on a cement slab in the middle of a plaza, and that kind of, yeah, you can see that, and I know we're growing in the U.S. and the U.S. Soccer Forward Foundation, and there's lots of different initiatives in America to get kids playing all types of soccer. But that's something that I love when you see the little school kids in Spain. They have their soccer ball under their arm, and they it's a social culture, just in Spain in general, and I love that. They have plazas and parks, and their little playgrounds are connected to little cafes. The parents are sitting at a cafe and the kids are playing football after school, before school. And yeah, it's really cool to be, as a soccer lover. Like, I played other sports, but I fit right into that Spanish lifestyle because there's always a ball somewhere bouncing in a plaza.
This is so cool. And I know you're professional and you have to think about rest and recovery and making sure you don't get injured. But is there any time that you're tempted to just jump in, or have you just jumped in with the kids?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Whether that be my friends who they play pickup all the time. Um, and yeah, you got to be mindful about, okay, I've got national team camp in 16 days, and then, or, oh, we're traveling on the weekend. But the game is the game, and it brings me joy. And I love to be able to, yeah, I enjoy it as much as I can. Now, I would never. Sometimes they play barefooted. They play in Spain. There's a lot of beach soccer, so I've got to be super there. I don't really jump in. Respect the heck out of our beach national team athletes. That's a completely different sport. But yeah, when I get a chance, I love to. Sometimes it's a walkable city. Spain is a walkable country, really. The cities are designed. So I'm walking back from the grocery store, and if there's a game, or if two kids are pinging the ball back and forth, I jump in whenever I can.
Yeah, just not too long in case you stop by the freezer section, right?
The countdown to 2026 is on, and every moment matters. Whether you're at home or on the pitch, preparation is everything. From clean kits to fresh confidence and bold style, Henkel's family of brands is there behind every routine that keeps life running smoothly. Because great performances don't just happen on the pitch, they start at home. Brought to you by Henkel and its family of brands, including Persil laundry detergent, Got2b hair care products, Dial soap, and Loctite adhesives. Proud partners of U.S. Soccer.
Let's go back to the start of your CP national team journey. How did you connect with the CP team, and how do you qualify to play?
Yeah, so how did I connect? Before social media, before before it was mainstream in the U.S., it was word of mouth, and I was very fortunate to be connected through the USL team in my city. I was born in Virginia Beach, and Jay Hoffman, who was Tony DeChico's assistant at the '99 World Cup, was the head coach for the USL team in the area. And so he was the head coach for that team, and my travel coach he worked for the club, and it was a like a butterfly effect conversation where they were chatting one day and had heard about it was called the Paralympic team back in the day. So that would have been 2005, 2006. And talked about this team that Jay Hoffman was also the head coach of. And it's for people. So I was born with cerebral palsy. And the team has gone through a few different iterations of name changes as the International Federation has changed the name over the years. It's been the Paralympic national team back when we were a part of the Paralympics. We've been removed from the games docket, unfortunately, and there it went to 7-a-side football. But in reality, right to nowadays, it's called the CP men's national team. And in order to qualify for the CP men's national team, it's almost a misnomer because there are 3 or 4 different things that qualify you to be eligible and play on the CP men's national team. One is being cerebral palsy. But the other things that qualify you manifest the same way as a disability. And so those other things are having a stroke, having a traumatic brain injury. So we have lots of military veterans that have had combat experience and had accidents. And then whether it be a brain aneurysm or some sort of, maybe you've had a cancer that affected your brain and resulted in what would be a traumatic brain injury, those are the things that qualify for you for the team. And the team, let's see if I don't get too far into the weeds here, but there's different levels of how the disability affects you. I know you spoke to our team captain, Josh. Josh is awesome, and I love that episode. So he's a military veteran. I was born with cerebral palsy, and basically everybody that is born with one of these things has a possibility to qualify for the team, and but there are levels to it. So we're elite athletes. We are, yeah. So if you're born with that, some people that are born with cerebral palsy are affected either more severely or less severely, and everybody on the CP national team is ambulatory, so everybody is able to walk and run. And visually, it's when we were a part of the Paralympics, it was difficult sometimes to see our disabilities showcasing themselves. Sometimes you would need to really focus. Some of us have a limp on one side or the other. But I started with the U.S. soccer team to go back and answer the question through Jay Hoffman connecting with Chris Michaels, who was my travel team coach at the time. And I had no idea that the team existed. I was super fortunate because a lot of people with disabilities don't find that avenue or the opportunity to find a path to the national team on a disability national team before they kind of get overtaken by able-bodied kids and aren't able to compete. I found out about the team probably when I was 12 and wasn't called in until I was 14 because I was a young kid. Back in the day, we didn't have we didn't have a grassroots program like CP Soccer USA like we have today. And so I, had to bide my time, but I knew from a quote unquote early age that this was an opportunity. So I was kind of doubled down as a 12-year-old, still completely in love with the game. And then I knew that, wow, even though the coverage was few and far between, but I found out that a national team for people like me existed. And if I trained a lot before, if I was out in the backyard hours on hours every day, it only increased from that time. And my first camp was at the Home Depot Center, and it was, I'll never forget it, because it was the full women's national team, the U23 women's, and then the CP men's team playing at Home Depot. And so we got to walk by their training. We got to see them in the tunnels at StubHub or at Home Depot. And from there, I knew that I was going to do whatever it took to make the team, and I had the idea, but I would have never guessed or dreamed how far this federation and this team would have taken me.
I mean, you mentioned you were 14 when you were first called into this CP team. That's outrageous. And I just want to say, for reference for all of our listeners and viewers, that Mia Hamm, yes, the Mia Hamm, is the earliest ever call up for a 11-a-side national team, and she was 15. So please talk about what it was like for you being so young on a national team.
Oof. Yeah. Eye-opening. Eye-opening is one word. Competitive. I was young. I was immature. I was wide-eyed and didn't know what to expect, but I knew I loved the game, and it was a call and an invite to fly from Virginia to Los Angeles as a 14-year-old still in school. And all of the guys, most of the guys were in their 20s. I mean, there was a decade between me and the next person, age-wise. And then the captains and some of the veterans were in their 30s and older. And so this team, I joke because I can only imagine if Jay Hoffman hears this, or even Stuart Sharp, our current head coach, like, sorry, coaches. Thank you for your patience. Y'all are incredible.
Safe space, Adam. Safe space.
No, like I had a lot of I grew up and learned a lot of life lessons with and through this team, and so it was a dream come true. And you never know. Sport is like this. You never know how long the dream is going to last. So every time I'm able to come in and put the crest on, it's special. And I know you are recently retired as well, and stepping away from the national team and then later the club team. It's like those are questions on, I've been on this team since, I don't know, almost 2 decades now, and so it's really shaped me. It's and now I'm the flip side. Now their kids don't really make it that young on the team, but we've got the core group of young guys. I'm like, I've been on the team since some of the guys have been born, or since before they were born, which is disgusting.
Whether it's game day, day drinking, or just kicking back with friends, reach for Truly, the official hard seltzer of U.S. Soccer. Bursting with fun, refreshing fruit flavors, and a bubbly style, Truly is super light by design, so the good times keep going. With just 1 gram of sugar and 100 calories, there's no heaviness slowing you down. And with more variety packs and new styles than anyone, there's a Truly for every taste. Truly, made to share, made for the match. So raise a can to the Stars and Stripes, cheer them on, and drink like a believer. Truly, the official hard seltzer of U.S. Soccer. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
I mean, right now you are a veteran, as you said, and I want to know, being a veteran, it comes with more responsibilities and duties to your team. Talk to me about what kind of leadership you lean into to guide this CP team.
Yeah, that is. Oh, it's life experience and having so many caps played. We know our opponents pretty well. We know the tournaments, and as a professional athlete, you would know, like, being on the road, and it's incredible. It's also a grind. The weeks away from loved ones, the 24-hour travel days. I guess I have had to grow into that belief in that leadership. I'll be honest. I didn't know anybody when I was younger that with CP. So being around this team was the first time I'd ever seen people become or be elite athletes with a disability. And that was something that I struggled with for a long time. And so that was actually on the mental side was something that I had made the national team, and I was dozens of games in. But that was the last piece that kind of clicked for me, as far as that self-belief and that realization that off the football pitch, I can create a life that I want. And on the football pitch, I have the license and ability to create a life that I want. And that, going back and plugging that into leadership with the CP team, it's a balance of sharing the stories and the things that I would want the kids to know, the guys that are coming in, the rookies, like, it's crazy. Like you said, having teammates that are so much younger, like, how do you connect with them? What does the banter look like? Of course, we have our little groups and our best friends on the team, and but leadership has changed when right now our culture is so strong. It's incredible. I'm actually so proud of the work that Stuart Sharp has done to transform our program, that Ben Lindau and Josh Bernay, our captains, and then the veterans, and all the way through. Our Stuart is so cognizant of the personalities that he brings in to the coaching staff, the med staff, and to create a culture. Leadership is doing what you need to do to have good character yourself, but then to look out what's best for the team. And sometimes that's hard, living and playing abroad and then being called in to the national team. We've got guys that are signed to professional contracts and live in Atlanta and train full time. And I have lived almost a decade abroad. But yeah, this team has given me an opportunity to grow in self-confidence and grow in from that immature young 14-year-old that said things he shouldn't say and that did things he shouldn't do, and that had to have more than one meeting with media
I think
training.
that was all of us.
Oof, yeah. But it's incredible to now be a part of a program that has so many people bought in, and we're coming off a Copa America win where we were just laser focused. It was the greatest locker room that I've been a part of, and that takes personal responsibility. And in order for that personal responsibility, that you've got to have that belief here. And I think a lot of us have kind of flipped that switch and understand what it takes to be at the highest level, which is incredible, because now we've got these guys that are younger seeing that and taking full responsibility as young kids, which sky's the limit. So we'll see.
You mentioned the Copa America, and I watched highlights of those games, and you could see the joy radiating on all of your faces. It was just incredible to see, on top of some really great soccer and some really good clips. Um, Talk to me about your proudest moment with this team. Is it that? Because you've been to so many tournaments and competitions with Team USA. I'm wondering, does one stick out?
Oof. I'll give a couple because it's impossible, Megan. How am I going to pick one moment? um, some of the incredible
It is a
moments,
challenge. I'll give
yeah,
you
like
that.
winning a major trophy. This was the first major trophy for the men's CP national team in 30 years. First time that somebody not named Brazil has won the Copa in the past 2 decades. So that was nice. And having guys come in that said, Adam, when I was an 8-year old, I was watching you at the Rio Games, or I watched you at London, and um, I saw that there was a path for me to represent the country and strive and then make life decisions that were good for me as a human being, but to make it to that level. And now, for example, there has been tons of parents of young kids with disabilities that reached out to me. Um, Shout out Sarah from Virginia Beach. But Kevin McCandlish is on the team. And specifically, I was talking about Ben Lindahl was our captain. And he was like, Adam, I watched you and now I'm on the team with you. And so that's always super special, because sport teaches resilience and self-belief. Like going into this world as somebody with a disability, there's so many unknowns. And so if I have a voice to say to anybody that has some sort of condition or any struggle, there's so many people that can relate to perseverance, and it's building habits and surrounding yourself with people that are uh, right for you, and creating a headspace to where you can create and can go after your goals and don't take excuses or don't make excuses. So that's something that I'm super proud of. And inside that journey is going from unranked, being nowhere near able to compete on the world stage with the best in the world, to now seeing the team, and we are toe to toe with the best in the world, which is insanity. And I'm gonna keep
It's
going. I'm gonna
it's a
keep
great
going. I'm gonna keep
pick,
going.
and
Shaking the president's hand, like being
yeah,
invited to the White House, is insane.
I know.
And so I will say,
That is such a surreal moment. That
yeah,
is such a surreal moment. And I love that you picked that. I really do think that to believe that you can do something, you have to be able to see it. And I love that you mentioned the president, because I think about that all the time. I'm like, how can, women think, oh, I want to be the president, if they're never able to see it? And it's the same in all these different areas of life, whether it's the CP team in sport, whether it's women with, presidency. I really think that's such a cool pick, and I love that that's your proudest moment. And I want to go back to something you said a little bit earlier. You talked about art. And a lot of people don't talk about art and sport together. And I've been super into this concept, though, of art through movement. And I think we see that in dance, but we don't really think about it in sport. But I think that there is so much art in sport. Does this
yeah,
resonate with you?
heck yeah. And I love this connection. I haven't really specifically thought about it through this light. Um, but yeah, if you think about when I'm playing my best soccer, I'm sure when you're playing, it's you're in your flow state and you're not thinking. And if I watch back tapes, I'm like, oh, wow, that was either great or that was a great play. And yeah, it's like art in motion. And I said earlier, mentioning Ronaldinho, or I specifically remember Zidane in the '06 World Cup, like just doing things with the ball or the team movements. Yeah, it's art. It's art. And what is that for you? You said that resonates with you. What kind of art, or what are your thoughts on art connecting to football?
I don't really have many guests that ask me questions, so I appreciate this very much. I think that I love it so much because it's art that you can only see one time. Yeah, there's video. Yeah, there's ways to watch it back, right? But the feeling of being inside the art that only happens one time and you never get to do that same piece of art again is really special. And I think that that's what makes it feel so amazing when you're out there in that flow state, knowing exactly where your teammate's going to pass it 3 passes ahead. It just feels so beautiful to be in that present moment with everybody at the same time. And there's not many careers in this world that you get to feel that. And that was something that I was always chasing as an athlete. But let's get back to you because this is actually about you.
No, it's about
Adam,
us. This is 2 athletes shooting the breeze.
Yeah, and I love that. That's one of my favorite parts about being this host on this podcast is being able to talk to athletes like you and just shooting the breeze because I'm not allowed to swear. But I do want to end here. I have one more question for you, and I know it's kind of a big question, and it's an idea that's hard to condense into a neat answer for a podcast, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What does soccer mean to you?
Possibility, growth, love, connection. It's so many things. It's friendships, it's leadership, it's struggle, it's realizing that you don't have to be perfect and you're allowed to make mistakes and you're allowed to learn from those mistakes. And it's just like life. Soccer is life. It literally is. You can learn almost any lesson that is relevant to life today if we looked at it through the lens of a mentally sound soccer player. Like, goodness gracious. Yeah. Soccer is so much, and yeah, it's joy. So many words, but there are a couple. I don't want to end. I want to go back and
answer.
But don't let me end. I gotta go back and ask you. I'm a huge Swiftie, and you got to go out after. Oof! I saw you dancing on Taylor Swift's day. What was that like? Talking about art and football.
Gosh.
She is. Well, iconic woman of our generation, and you got to go out and celebrate a World Cup win on T Swift's tour. What was talking through that situation?
Well, let me just say that Taylor is like very down to earth, so it didn't feel like a really big deal, although I know it was. Something that was really funny is that I had been drinking just a little bit, and I went up on stage and all of our teammates were up there. But also, if you remember, randomly Heidi Klum was there as well.
That's who that
Did you
was.
know that?
Yeah, okay. I'm looking back and I was like, wait, that's so random.
So she's right next to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like having the time of my life because I've never been the person that shies away from being the center of attention in front of 100,000 people. That is like the best place that I could be. So I'm up on stage enjoying every single second of it, and I'm dancing my little heart out, and I booty bumped Heidi Klum so hard that I almost bopped her right off the stage, and she was like, whoa! And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
You said, hit the gym.
So I'm not sure that me and Heidi Klum are friends, but I had a great time.
No, so epic. No, those are my 2 worlds colliding right there. I'm a huge Swiftie. So, yeah, that was incredible.
Safe to say we had the time of our lives. But, Adam, thank you so much for this interview. But I especially thank you for opening up on that last answer. It was beautiful and thoughtful, and it truly is a microcosm of our life. Soccer is just all of the best and all of the hardest things wrapped up in one game. And you put it so eloquently. Thank you so much for being here. It has been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Megan. Thanks for the thoughtful questions. Thank you to US Soccer for giving us this platform to talk. It was a pleasure, and hopefully we'll run into each other in person and not on a screen one day. So Great to see
Yeah, we
you.
will. I'm going to be coming to Spain, and you're
Heck
going to be
yeah.
taking me out to the little courts, and we're going to be balling.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
All right.
O'Reilly Auto Parts, who are in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offer friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and repairs. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock either in store or online, so you never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find just the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, a brake light fix, or a quick service? They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. And that's something I can attest to personally, that the folks at O'Reilly Auto Parts are always friendly and knowledgeable. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/US Soccer. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/US Soccer. Bank of America has long supported sports, recognizing the impact they can have in strengthening communities, creating connection, and expanding opportunity. That's why we're proud to be the official bank of U.S. Soccer, championing everyone who dares to ask, what would you like the power to do? Bank of America, official bank of U.S. Soccer. Legal, Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC. Welcome back to the U.S. Soccer Podcast presented by Henkel. My name is David Goss, and that was Meghan Klingenberg in conversation with Adam Ballou. All right, the last thing of this show is Ask the Pros, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's where you can ask the questions for myself, for Kling, for Ale Bedoya. And if they're so good, you can ask more than one question, because we've got Josh in Indianapolis today, Kling, who's got a question on both the USMNT and the USWNT side of things. So let's start on the men's side. The question is, the USMNT just dropped back-to-back friendlies to Belgium and Portugal, and now they have two final tune-ups against Senegal and Germany before the World Cup kicks off for them on June 12th against Paraguay at SoFi Stadium. Pochettino doesn't get the results he's looking for in those two games. What does that tell you about where this team is really at, and how far do you actually see them going in this tournament on home soil? Kling, so how much do you take from the results side of these friendlies, I think is what Josh is asking.
Well, first of all, love that Josh is a two-way fan. Big fan of WNT, big fan of MNT. Love that. I would say that I'm not going to put too much stock into the results that are happening right now. I think everybody has kind of been going hard in their domestic leagues, whether it is in Italy or like Europe in general or back in the MLS, have been so focused on those tactics and that style that it's kind of hard to just like come back in and then go back out to your team and reset. And I just feel like there is nothing that you can compare in life to playing home soil on a World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime that you're gonna be playing in front of your own family, your own crowd, feeling the most comfortable you've ever felt at a World Cup, you just don't know what's going to happen. I feel like, yes, we want to see improvements. Yes, we want to see more chemistry. Yes, we want to see them win. But at the same time, does it really matter? The games that matter are in the World Cup. To me, even the group stage kind of doesn't matter. Get the kinks out, figure out what you need to figure out, start getting that cohesive chemistry going, and then knockout round. That's where it really matters. Turn it on, see what you can do, how far you can go. Otherwise, I just feel like, who cares?
Yeah.
Let's just focus on the games that are important.
It's hard to over consider the result in a friendly that is a week away from the biggest game of a 10-year span for the team. So the results, I think, in those Germany and Senegal games are probably not going to matter a lot, because you're on the verge of playing the games that actually matter. You want to see the performances, you want to see the relationships, you want to see the connections, and I think that's a lot of what Pochettino was looking at in the previous set of friendlies with the pairings and central midfield and center back, and the way Freeman played at times as a wing back and the way, or as a center back and way as a fullback. I think those are the things that you're going to be looking at and taking away from a lot of these games. We do have 3 friendlies coming up on the women's side. And Emma Hayes is our second question. Emma Hayes is the U.S. women's national team unbeaten through the She Believes Cup and now heading into a 3-game series against Japan coming up in April. With 2027 Women's World Cup qualifying on the horizon, which player on this roster do you think absolutely has to step up and make themselves undeniable between now and the end of the year, and why? I think it's a great question. We see Emma now kind of starting to lean into a consistent roster with this call-up camp being very similar to the She Believes. I'll throw 2 names out there, Kling, and then you can go. One is Fallon Tullis-Joyce, which, the goalkeeper position is somewhat open. And so someone is going to have to put their name on it. Jane Campbell getting called in shows you that there is still churn in who's getting the opportunities. But I think someone has to land as the first spot everyone is chasing, and it feels like it's between Tullis-Joyce and Claudia Dickey. And then the second is Alyssa Thompson, because for everything Alyssa Thompson has done well, the goals she scored at Chelsea, every few months, one of the best players in the world at her position, it feels like, is becoming available for the U.S. So Trinity Rodman has come back into the team consistently. Sophia Wilson, of course, returning from maternity leave, and Mal Swanson preparing to return as well. And so this year, as Alyssa Thompson gets minutes, is her chance to put her resume on the field and say, for whatever these players have done for you in the past and whatever they've accomplished in their careers, like, this is my spot that they have to come take.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough for her. And I think that's a great choice, both in the goalkeeper and in kind of the 7-11 position. But I was going to go with Emily Sonnet because now we have, I believe, a lock in Naomi Girma for the next 4 years in that position, at least. She's just that world class, in my opinion. But now you have Tierna Davidson coming back. Emily Sams is playing well. And I just feel like that puts a bit of pressure on Sonnet. I think she's done a fantastic job, as Davidson has been injured. And she's kind of like been one of the most consistent people in that spot this entire year. And I just feel like if she continues that consistency with her passing, making sure that she doesn't make mistakes back there, breaking lines, positioning, being tough, being in the right place at the right time. If she does all of those things, which she has been doing consistently well, and she does that all the way through the year, then that's like the person that Emma is going to pick next to play next to Girma. And it's kind of her position to lose right now, because I think she's got it. But if she doesn't continue with that type of consistency, I could see Emma being like, okay, I love Girma, but let's see if we can pair Girma with somebody that is going to, be able to bring out the best in her and then have Girma bring out the best in them. I just feel like Emma could be open to that if the level from Sonnet kind of drops down. So I will be super interested to see, especially because Gotham hasn't had the best of starts. It can start to weigh on a player's mind. And so we have to see whether Sonnet is going to be able to kind of navigate these rough waters and continue to play at a high level.
And I think when you look at a World Cup and a roster, you look at the different elements you get from players. No one chews gum in a game like Emily Sonnet. And you need that element on a team for a big tournament. It's like watching a 1920s baseball shortstop out there at the center back position.
He's outrageous.
So if you want this type of knowledge, you can ask the pros as well. Drop our partners at Westwood One a DM on Instagram at Westwood One Sports. Thank you to Kling. Thank you to Adam once again. And finally, thanks to all of you for listening. Don't forget to follow us wherever you get all your podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube and never miss an episode. And we'll be back next week.